learn about Intel Core i7 processor. A processor is a logic circuitry that responds to and processes the basic instruction that drives the computer. It is also known as a CPU, Control Processing Unit. The processor in a personal computer or embedded in small devices is often called a microprocessor. Intel Core i7 is an Intel processor that is built on framework of multiprocessor architecture. What is Intel Core i7 processor? Core i7 is first processor using NALM microarchitecture and a processor with faster, intelligent multi-core technology. Examples of i7 processors are i7-555OU, i7-555-7U, etc. Now we will understand what is a NALM microarchitecture. NALM is the codename for Intel's 45 nanometer microarchitecture released in November 2008. It was used in the first generation of Intel Core i7 and i5 processors. NALM is built on a 45 nanometer process, run at higher clock speed and are more energy efficient. Hyperthreading is reintroduced along with a redundance in L2 cache size as well as an enlarged L3 cache that is shared among all the cores. What is hyperthreading? Hyperthreading, officially called hyperthreading technology or HT technology, is Intel's simultaneous multithreading implementation used to improve parallelization of computer, which is doing multiple tasks at once. Architecturally, a processor with hyperthreading technology consists of two logical processors per core, each of which has its own processor architecture state. Higher performance processor system with QPI, Quick Path Interconnect, is a new point-to-point interconnect for connecting a CPU to either a chipset or another CPU. It provides up to 25.6 GB of speed total bidirectional data throughout per link. It incorporates distributed shared memory architecture. Some of the features of Intel Core i7 are CPU performance via Intel Turbo Boost, where the processor accelerates graphic performance for peak load automation, allowing the processor cores to run faster than the rated operating frequency if they are operating below power, current and temperature specification limits. Intel Turbo Boost is active when OS requests the higher processor to perform in the state. Improve cache latency with Smart L3 cache. Cache is a block of high-speed memory for temporary data storage. The Core i7 family of processors features the inclusive shared L3 cache that can be up to 12 MB in size. Optimized multithreading performance through hyperthreading is in the single physical processor core as two logical cores to allow them to share resources between execution threads and therefore increases the system efficiency. It uses processor resources more efficiently, enabling multiple threads to run on each core. Along with this, overclocking capability, streaming SIMD, single instruction multiple data instruction. 4-core allows for handling software that requires a lot of computation are some of the features of Intel Core i7. As you know, every coin has a two sides. We also have some disadvantages. i7 core processors are very costly. The power consumption is relatively high from other processors. It will only work for DDR3 memory, which means that any computer having DDR2 have to upgrade or change completely their motherboard to DDR3. Sensitivity of higher voltage is seen in i7 processors. Thank you.